The luxury watches that everyone actually wants have become completely unjustifiable at their current price points. For the average person, owning one of these iconic pieces is no longer a realistic savings goal. It's a fantasy. Look at the heavyweights. An Audemars Piguet Royal Oak sits at around 25 grand. A Rolex Submariner approaches 10. Even a quartz Cartier tank commands over $3,000. This chart shows the total price you pay for one of these pieces. Down here at the bottom is the actual physical engineering, the materials, the movement, the build quality. But this massive upper section, that's purely a prestige tax. You are paying for the name. If we isolate just that engineering section, we can find alternatives that deliver the exact same design language for a fraction of the price. Specifically, we can find genuinely comparable pieces at half, a quarter, and a tenth of the original cost. You don't need a second mortgage to put excellent watchmaking on your wrist. You simply need to know exactly where to look to get the mechanics and the aesthetic without paying the hype markup. In 1972, Gerald Genta designed the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. He created a specific anatomy for the luxury sports watch, an integrated steel bracelet that flows directly into the case, and an octagonal bezel locked down by 8 exposed hexagonal screws. At about half the price, the Girard-Perregaux Laureato isn't a knockoff. It emerged from the exact same mid-70s wave of integrated bracelet steel sports watches, offering a legitimate sibling design language. Step down to the 25% mark, and the Zenith Defy Skyline gives you an in-house movement and incredible dial texture. At the 10% tier, the Maurice Lacroix Icon delivers that exact case shape and cloudy dial layering. Both options skip the 2-year waitlists entirely. Over in the dive category, the Rolex Submariner launched in 1953. It wrote the strict rulebook that every modern dive watch has followed since, from the clicking rotating bezel to the exact case proportions built to survive underwater use. Rolex's own sister company, Tudor, offers the 50. In 1965, NASA subjected a short list of chronographs to extreme heat, vacuum, and vibration testing to clear them for manned spaceflight. The Omega Speedmaster Professional was the only watch to survive running to spec. When the Apollo 11 crew landed in 1969, the first watch actually worn on the lunar surface was strapped to Buzz Aldrin's wrist. Neil Armstrong had left his Speedmaster behind in the lunar lander to serve as a backup for a failed onboard clock. If you want proper mechanical chronograph engineering without paying the space race premium, the Longines Conquest chronograph hits the 50% mark, while manual wines like the Hamilton Jazzmaster Performer cover the 25% tier. At 10% of the price, you can buy the Bulova Lunar Pilot. This is a direct reissue of the actual backup chronograph worn on the lunar surface by Dave Scott during the Apollo 15 mission. Space exploration history isn't monopolized by a single brand. Collectors can wear legitimate, vacuum-tested aerospace provenance for less than a tenth of Omega's retail cost. The Grand Seiko Snowflake features a highly sought-after white dial modeled directly after the snow-covered mountains surrounding the brand's Shinsu studio in Nagano. Inside, it uses a spring drive movement. Regulated electronically rather than by a traditional escapement, the second hand glides in a completely smooth, continuous sweep across the dial instead of ticking. You can find near-identical dial artistry with the Seiko Presage line, and for serious high-accuracy quartz engineering, a flagship model from the Citizen gives you an incredible alternative at about 50. It became the defining watch for quiet luxury, worn by cultural titans like Muhammad Ali and royalty like Princess Diana. Pop artist Andy Warhol wore his tank so consistently that he used to joke he never even bothered winding it. For half the price, the Longines Dolce Vita captures that exact same restrained Roman numeral layout. Step down further, and micro brands offer incredibly compact Art Deco rectangular styling for just a few $100s. Quiet luxury comes from physical proportions, case restraint, and clean styling. It does not require a specific French name printed on the dial. None of these 15 alternatives are trying to be counterfeit versions of the watches they stand in for. They simply take those core concepts, the integrated steel bracelets, the precise dive bezels, and the elegant Art Deco cases, and execute them honestly and competently. When you factor in the real-world waitlists and the massive gray market markups, the price gap between the boutique icons and these alternatives becomes even more extreme than retail numbers suggest. True luxury and monetary value are not mutually exclusive. You just have to separate the actual horological merit from the marketing hype. Time keeps ticking, so use your money wisely. If you want a chance to win one of the pieces featured today, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment the hidden message below to enter the giveaway.